Introduction: The Blasphemy of Scarcity. Who taught you to apologize for your own light? Who convinced you that walking into a room with your head bowed is a virtue? Who told you that to please God, you had to despise His most sophisticated creation, yourself? Since you were born, you have been infected with a mental virus. A virus that disguises itself as morality, ethics, and spirituality. Its name is humility, but not real humility, which is wisdom, but the bastardized version society has sold us: self-limitation, honest poverty, submissive silence, the fear of shining so as not to bother the mediocre. They have told you that pride is a sin. They have told you that the last shall be first. They have told you to desire little, to settle, to make no noise. Today I come to tell you that all of that is a scam, and even worse, it is a blasphemy. Think about it with cold logic. If you believe in a creator, call it God, universe, source, or infinite intelligence, you believe that this creator is omnipotent, infinite, and abundant. If you are a creation of that God, if you are made in His image and likeness, how do you dare to play at being small? When you shrink, when you say, "I am worth nothing," when you reject money, power, or talent, you are not being virtuous. You are insulting the architect. It is as if Michelangelo gave you his best sculpture and you covered it with a dirty blanket and hid it in the basement because you don't want to show off. Do you think that honors Michelangelo? No, that spits in his face. You are telling him, "Your work is too big, I prefer it to look like garbage." Scarcity is not spiritual. Scarcity is the negation of the nature of God. If God is expansion, contracting is the most atheistic act that exists. The humility that makes you feel guilty for your success is, in reality, ingratitude. It is arrogance disguised as modesty. It is the ego telling the universe, "Don't give me so much, I don't deserve it. I know better than you what I should have." This book is not for the meek. This book is for those who feel a fire in their stomach that society has tried to put out with buckets of guilt. This book is a signed authorization to occupy all your space, to speak loudly, to want more, to be magnificent. We are going to dismantle the biggest lie ever told. We are going to stop apologizing for existing. Because there is nothing divine about being a frightened sheep. God roars in lions, not in worms. Welcome to the lie of humility. Welcome to your own greatness. Let those who must be offended, be offended. We have come here to shine. Chapter 1. The Semantic Fraud. Humility versus Humiliation. Welcome to the autopsy of a word. Words are codes. They are spells. When you repeat a word about yourself, you are invoking a biological and spiritual reality. If I say failure, your body shrinks, your serotonin drops, and your mind seeks excuses. If I say victory, your spine straightens and your mind seeks opportunities. For centuries, society, religion, and culture have forced you to tattoo a word on your forehead as if it were the highest possible virtue: humility. They have told you that being humble is the most noble thing you can aspire to. They have told you that God loves the humble. They have told you that success corrupts and humility saves. Today I come to tell you that they have lied to you. They have used a trick of linguistic illusionism to confuse two opposite concepts. They have swapped the labels on the jars in the pharmacy of your soul. They have sold you poison under the label of medicine. They have confused humility with humiliation. By accepting that corrupt definition, you have accepted living on your knees, believing that this posture makes you holy, when in reality, it only makes you an easy target. The origin of the dirt, etymology of humus. To understand the spell, we have to go to the root. Words are not innocent, they have a history. The word humility comes from the Latin humilitas, and humilitas derives from the root humus. Do you know what humus means? It means earth. It means soil. In its oldest and most literal sense, humilis meant low, small, close to the ground, insignificant. It was even used to describe plants that did not grow upward, but crawled through the mud. When society asks you to be humble, it is literally asking you to be dirt. It is asking you to be the ground so that others can walk over you. It is asking you to crawl. It is asking you to bow your head, to look at the mud, to remember that dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. It is a programming of death. It is designed to nullify your verticality. The human being is the only creature that walks fully upright, connecting heaven, head, with earth, feet. Our nature is to be a bridge, a cosmic antenna. Misunderstood humility asks you to break that connection and become horizontal. It asks you to become cattle. Why would a system want you to be humus? Because humus does not rebel. The soil does not argue. The earth lets itself be stepped on, plowed, and exploited without complaining. Humility is the perfect virtue for a slave. But you are not a slave. You are a creator, and a creator does not belong to the ground. They belong to the stars. The deliberate confusion, disguised humiliation. Here is the great fraud. They have taken humiliation, the act of lowering your value, of feeling unworthy, of being ashamed of your power, and put a pretty dress on it called modesty. They have taught you to feel shame for your gifts. Look at how you react to success. If someone says to you, "What incredible work you did, you are a genius," your false humility programming jumps in immediately. "Oh, it was nothing, I got lucky, the team did all the work. It's really not that big of a deal." What did you just do? You just rejected an energetic gift. You just insulted your own ability. And worse still, you just insulted the person who gave you the compliment, implicitly telling them they have bad taste or are wrong to admire you. That is not virtue. That is fear. It is the fear of standing out. It is the fear that if you accept it, you become a tall poppy. To protect yourself from the envy of others, you preemptively humiliate yourself. You make yourself small before someone else forces you to be. It is a cowardly defense mechanism, not spiritual elevation. Humiliation is the vibratory state of shame. Shame is the lowest possible vibration. How can it be virtuous to vibrate near death? God is life, God is expansion. Self-humiliation moves you away from God, not closer. The translation error, meek is not weak. Many will cite the Bible to defend their smallness. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. This is perhaps the most catastrophic translation error in history. The original Greek word used in the New Testament is praus. It was translated as meek, which sounds like weakling or harmless. But in ancient Greece, praus did not mean weakness. Praus was a military and equestrian term. It was used to describe a war stallion that had been trained. A wild horse has strength, but no control. A castrated horse has no strength. A praus horse is a beast of 500 kilos of pure muscle. It is a beast capable of killing, capable of charging into battle through spears and fire, but which chooses to obey the softest rein of its rider. Praus means power under control, strength tamed by the will. It is not the absence of aggressiveness. It is aggressiveness channeled with surgical precision. When a master spoke of being meek, they were not talking about being a doormat. They were talking about being a spiritual warrior, so powerful they don't need to shout, because their power is aligned with their purpose. Having a sharp sword and keeping it in the scabbard. That is praus. Arrogance versus sovereignty, the fine line. So what is the alternative? Being an unbearable, arrogant person? No. This is where discernment comes in. The opposite of false humility is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. Let's look at the difference. Arrogance, toxic ego, born of insecurity and lack. It needs to shout, "I am the best," because deep down it suspects it's a fraud. It needs to humiliate others to feel tall. It is competitive. I win, you lose. It is fragile. If you criticize it, it breaks or attacks with fury. Sovereignty, divine identity, born of certainty and fullness. It says, "I am magnificent," as one says, "The sky is blue." It is a fact, not a boast. It doesn't need others to be small. Its light invites others to be great. It is creative. I win, and my victory opens doors for you. It is anti-fragile. Society often confuses the sovereign with the arrogant. When you walk into a room with your head high, occupying your space without apologizing, the mediocre will call you stuck up. It's not your problem. It is their projected insecurity. Do not lower your frequency so they feel comfortable. The true definition, objective reality. We are going to redefine humility for this book and for your life. The operational definition of humility is total attachment to reality. What is reality? Reality is that you are a finite biological creature that is going to die. True. But reality is also that you are a fracture of infinite consciousness, capable of loving, creating art, building empires, and modifying matter with your mind. Also true. False humility focuses only on the biological worm part. I am dust, I am nothing. That is a lie. It is denying half of your being. Arrogance focuses only on a fantasy of separate superiority. That is also a lie. Real humility is saying, I am a masterpiece of the Creator. I have immense talents. To deny them would be to lie. To use them is my duty. I am not the source of the light, but I am the lamp. C.S. Lewis nailed it with this phrase, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. The false humble person is obsessed with themselves. What will they think of me? Will I look vain? It's pure ego. Everything revolves around their self-image. The truly great person does not think about themselves. They think about the work. They think about the mission. They are so secure in their value that they no longer need to question or defend it. They simply operate from it. The insult of the rejected gift. Imagine you are a parent. You save for years to buy your child the best car in the world, a Ferrari, so they can travel safely and fast. You hand it over with infinite love. Your child looks at the car, bows their head and says, "No, Dad, it's too much. I don't deserve it. I'm going to walk on my knees." How would you feel? Would you feel honored? No, you would feel hurt, offended, furious. You would think, idiot, I gave you the car so you could use it, so you could enjoy it, so you could go far. Your humility is a rejection of my love. God, or the universe, is that parent. He has given you intelligence. He has given you charisma. He has given you a body capable of pleasure and strength. He has given you the ability to create wealth. And you go and say, "No, God, I want to be poor and small to be good." It is a blasphemy. It is telling the Creator he made a mistake. The only way to honor the giver is to use the gift to the maximum. If you have a beautiful voice, singing at the top of your lungs is your prayer. If you have a capacity for business, making millions is your prayer. Repression is not spirituality. Total expression is spirituality. The narcissism of poverty. There is a type of narcissism that is invisible because it disguises itself as virtue. The narcissism of the victim. The person who always puts themselves last in line. The person who always says, "Don't worry about me." The person who sighs and says, "It is my cross, I have to endure." In reality, that person feels morally superior. They say to themselves, "Look how good I am, how much I suffer. I am better than those selfish rich people." They use their smallness as a medal. They seek validation through pity. Poor me. It is an addiction to drama and attention. Break that pattern. Stop seeking moral superiority and suffering. There is no prize in heaven for having been a doormat on earth. Unnecessary suffering does not redeem. It only hurts. The fraud of modesty. The word modesty comes from modus, measure, limit. To be modest is to stay within the limits. Who set those limits? Society, control, fear. They ask you for modesty so that you do not break the status quo. If you are a woman, they ask for modesty so as not to threaten insecure patriarchy. If you are an employee, they ask for modesty so as not to threaten the boss. Modesty is a mechanism of social control. It is the handbrake applied to your soul. Why should you be modest if your nature is infinite? Is the sun modest? Does it say, "I'll shine just a little today so as not to offend the moon"? No, the sun burns, and because it burns without modesty, there is life on earth. Your lack of modesty is what the world needs. We need your full fire, not your timid ember. Semantic reprogramming, your new dictionary. From today, you are going to cross out the old definition and write the new one. Old humility, thinking you are little, hiding, feeling shame for shining, servility, garbage. New humility, sovereignty, recognizing your divine origin, accepting the responsibility of your talents. When someone says to you, "Be humble," You will translate in your mind, "They are asking me to be harmless and controllable," and you will answer, with a smile or with silence, "No, I have come to be great, and my greatness will be my service." Practice the art of accepting. We are going to start with a simple exercise to break the habit of self-humiliation. The exercise is called, "Thank you, I know." For the next 7 days, every time someone gives you a compliment about your clothes, your work, your intelligence, your beauty, it is forbidden to reject it. "Oh no, it's old, it's no big deal." It is forbidden to return the compliment immediately out of discomfort. "You look good too." You must look them in the eye, smile, and say, "Thank you." And that's it. Silence. Endure the discomfort of receiving. Let that energy enter you. Internally, you can say to yourself, "Thank you, I know. I accept this recognition as a validation of my being." At first, you will feel arrogant. You will feel like you are breaking a social rule. Exactly. You are breaking the rule of mediocrity. You are training your nervous system to tolerate admiration without collapsing. You are stopping being humus, soil, and starting to be a tree. Chapter 2. Slave Morality, Social Control. Welcome to the Matrix. Until now, perhaps you thought your humility was a personal choice. You believed it was you, in your infinite kindness, deciding not to show off, not to ask for more, and not to stand out. I have to wake you up from that childish dream. Your humility is not a choice. It is a domestication program. Imagine you are a farmer. You have a flock of sheep. What qualities do you want in your sheep? Do you want them to be adventurous, aggressive, independent, and proud? No. If they are like that, they will jump the fence, eat the neighbor's garden, or butt you when you try to shear them. You want them to be docile. You want them to be fearful. You want them to move in a group. You want them to be afraid of the wolf, and above all, you want them to see you as their savior. Society, the state, large corporations, dogmatic religious institutions, is the farmer. You are the sheep. And humility is the invisible electric fence. It is the fence they have installed in your mind so that you don't escape the pen. It is not a secret conspiracy of men smoking cigars in a dark room. It is something much more efficient. It is a cultural evolution of survival. The power structure is terrified of the sovereign individual. A human being who knows their value, who does not ask for permission and who does not feel guilt, is uncontrollable. You cannot sell them things they don't need. You cannot scare them with fake news. And you cannot exploit them at work. Therefore, since you were 3 years old, the system has dedicated itself to crushing your instinct. They crush your instinct for greatness until it becomes a manageable paste called a model citizen. Today we are going to analyze slave morality. We are going to understand why you feel bad when you are strong and why you feel good when you are weak. The great magic trick, the reversal of values. Friedrich Nietzsche, in his work The Genealogy of Morals, exposed the greatest fraud in human history. In ancient times, think of Homeric Greece, Rome, the Vikings, the word good, gut, was synonymous with noble, strong, rich, powerful, beautiful. Being good meant being capable. It meant excellence, arete. On the contrary, bad and schlecht meant weak, poor, sickly, cowardly, plebeian. It was not a moral judgment, it was a description of potency. The lion is good because it is strong, the sick sheep is bad because it does not survive. But then the slave revolt in morality occurred. The weak, the oppressed, and the resentful, the majority, could not defeat the strong, the minority, on the battlefield. They were physically and mentally inferior in the capacity for conquest. So, guided by the priestly caste, they invented a weapon more powerful than the sword, guilt. They flipped the script. They said, wait, the strong are not good, they are evil, they are oppressors, they are arrogant. God loves us, the weak, because we suffer. Our weakness is not a defect, it is a virtue called humility. Their strength is not a virtue, it is a sin called pride. It was a masterstroke. Suddenly the weak person felt morally superior to the strong. The strong, hearing this for centuries, began to feel guilt for their own strength. They began to doubt. They began to shrink to be good. And thus, the slaves domesticated the masters without raising a single fist. They simply infected them with an idea. The idea was that being great is being bad. You are a child of this culture. You carry 2,000 years of genetic and cultural programming telling you that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. They have taught you that poverty is purity. It is a lie. The perfect employee, corporate humility. Let's descend from philosophy to your office. Why do companies value humility and teamwork so much? Analyze it coldly. If you are humble, you won't ask for a raise even if you do the work of 3 people, because you don't want to be difficult. You will accept staying late without pay to pitch in. You won't take credit for your ideas. You will let the boss take the glory because the team comes first. Corporate humility is the lubricant of exploitation. The boss loves a humble employee. They are cheap and docile. The boss is terrified of an employee with market self-esteem. An employee who says, "Look, I've generated 2 million for the company this year. My current salary is insulting. I want 40% more or I go to the competition tomorrow." That is not arrogance. It is mathematics. But the HR system will label you as difficult, not aligned with the culture, or a mercenary. They will try to manipulate you with guilt. We are a family here. Translation: in families, people work for free out of love, and we want you to do that. Don't fall into the trap. The corporate family is a lie of control. If you are humble, they earn profit margin. Your humility becomes the CEO's bonus. The crab bucket, your social environment. Slave morality doesn't only come from above. It comes from the sides. It comes from your friends and family. It is the phenomenon of the crab bucket. If you put a single crab in a bucket, it will climb out easily. If you put several in, none will get out. Why? Because when one tries to climb, the others pull it down. They don't do it out of conscious malice, they do it out of panic. If you, who are from the same neighborhood and school as your friends, suddenly start to succeed, you stop being humble, you start to shine, you put a mirror in front of them. Your success screams, "If he could, I could too, but I'm not doing it." But that conclusion is painful. It destroys their ego. To avoid that pain, they have 2 options. A, climb up with you, requires effort. B, pull you down, requires only criticism. Option B is cheaper. So, they invoke slave morality. Fame has gone to his head. He's not the same as before. He's lost his humility. Translation: he has stopped being a loser like us, and that offends us. We want him back in the mud so we don't have to feel bad about our mediocrity. Your humility is the price you pay to belong to the tribe of the mediocre. If you want to fly, you have to be willing to be hated by the crabs, and they will hate you. Resentment, the fuel of goodness. The humble and self-sacrificing person often hides a volcano of hatred. Nietzsche called this resentment. It is the impotent hatred of one who cannot act. Since they cannot take what they want from life, they take revenge by judging those who do take it. Look at the person who criticizes the rich. They say the rich are evil, they exploit people, no one should have that much money. They present themselves as defenders of justice. But if you offered them 10 million euros tax-free right now, would they reject it out of ethics? 99% would take it instantly. Their ethics is just disguised envy. They hate the rich man not because he is bad, but because they want to be him and don't know how. They transform their impotence into moral superiority. You have done this. You have seen someone with a spectacular body and thought, "They must be superficial. I have good feelings." It's a lie. You are using your goodness as a consolation prize for your lack of discipline. That is slave morality. The master says, "What a spectacular body. I'm going to train to have one like it." Admiration and action. The slave says, "What a superficial body. I am better because I am humble." Envy and judgment. The conspiracy of the good person. They have sold us the idea that being a good person means being harmless. It means not bothering anyone. Always smiling. That definition of good is a tool for castration. True goodness requires power. Who is more good, the one who wants to help but has no money, or the one who has 1 million to build a school? Capacity, power, is a prerequisite for effective goodness. The humility that keeps you poor prevents you from being good on a large scale. It turns you into a passive spectator of the world's suffering. If you are truly good, your moral duty is to be powerful. Your duty is to have resources and influence. Only from a position of power can reality be changed. Slaves pray for it to rain. Masters build irrigation systems. Stop praying and start building. Religion as anesthesia. Note, this is not an attack on God, but on the human institution. Karl Marx said religion is the opium of the people. Nietzsche said it is Platonism for the masses. Both saw the same. The promise of a future life is used so you accept a shitty life now. The deal religious slave morality offers you is, suffer now, be poor now. Turn the other cheek now, be humble now, and when you die you will have paradise. It is the longest Ponzi scheme in history. They ask you to sacrifice your only tangible life in exchange for a post-mortem promise. The powerful love this. If you believe your reward is in heaven, you won't complain here. On the contrary, you will think your shack is your ticket to heaven. Break that contract. God is the God of life, not death. God wants you to bring heaven to earth, not wait to die to see it. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. That means now. Abundance is your birthright here and now. Guilt, the sheepdog of the mind. The mechanism that keeps slave morality running without the need for police is guilt. Guilt is the sheepdog that bites your heels when you wander from the flock. When you say no to a favor you don't want to do, you feel guilt. When you earn more money than your parents, you feel guilt. That guilt is not natural. A 2-year-old doesn't feel guilt for asking for food. It is learned. It is an implant. You have to learn to operate without guilt. You have to understand that guilt is a sign that you are violating a slave norm. Therefore, feeling guilt is a sign that you are doing the right thing for your liberation. If you feel guilty for charging a high price, you are doing well. It means you are breaking the poverty programming. Transmute the guilt. When it appears, tell it. I recognize you. You are the control program trying to realign me. I do not obey you. Guilt disappears when you stop validating it. The danger of the harmless. There is a big lie circulating. Humble people are the best people. My experience and history say otherwise. Repressed people, humble by force, are the most dangerous. Since they cannot express their aggression directly and healthily, they express it in a passive-aggressive way. They are the ones who gossip, the ones who sabotage you in secret. They are treacherous because they don't have the courage to be enemies to your face. A master will tell you, I don't like you, we are going to fight. You know where you stand. A slave will say, oh friend, I'm so happy for you, while praying you fall. Be very careful with the meek who hide their frustration under a layer of sanctity. They are ticking time bombs, and be careful not to become one of them yourself. If you have a problem with someone, be direct, be noble, do not be humble. From domestication to sovereignty. How do you get out of slave morality? Through the transvaluation of all values. Nietzsche. You have to take your list of good and bad and audit it. Is it good to keep quiet so as not to offend? No. It is cowardice. Is it bad to want a lot of money? No. It is vitality. Is it good to sacrifice yourself for others until you are nullified? No. It is suicide. Is it bad to have pride? No. Healthy pride is the backbone of dignity. You have to start judging yourself by standards of greatness, not obedience. In school, you got an A for obeying. In real life, you get an A for creating and breaking. The new social contract. By rejecting slave morality, the social contract changes. You are no longer a docile citizen. You become a free player. This has a cost. Society will try to punish you. They will call you selfish. They will call you cold. Remember, these are compliments. In the language of slaves, ambitious is an insult. In the language of kings, it is a requirement. When they insult you with these words, smile and say, thank you, you're right, I am not one of yours. Don't try to convince the sheep to be lions. They will get scared and bleat for the shepherd. Simply be a lion. Some sheep will see you and remember they have fangs too. The only thing you cannot do is put the sheepskin back on to fit in. That will suffocate you. Chapter 3, The Insult to the Architect. Theology of Greatness. There is a toxic belief, embedded in the very marrow of collective consciousness, which says, To please God, I must diminish myself. I must be less so that he can be more. I must deny my flesh, my ambition, and my brilliance, because pride separates man from divinity. This idea is the root of the spiritual cancer that keeps us sick. It is a lie designed to keep you in a state of cosmic beggary. They have taught you to see God as an insecure dictator who feels threatened if his children grow too large. They have taught you to see life as a test of endurance where the one who suffers most and asks for least wins. Today I will present a theology of greatness. The premise is simple and terrifying. If you are a creation of God and God is perfect, then playing at being small, defective, or unworthy is not humility. It is a direct criticism of the artist's competence. It is telling the architect of the universe, your design failed. What you made is not worthy of being seen. I'm going to hide it so as not to embarrass you. Do you realize the arrogance hidden behind that supposed humility? Who are you to correct God? Who are you to say that what he made great must appear small? The analogy of the painting, the insult to Da Vinci. Let's imagine a scene. Leonardo da Vinci, the genius of the Renaissance, spends years painting his ultimate masterpiece. It is not the Mona Lisa. It is something superior. He puts into it all his knowledge of light, anatomy, the human soul, and divinity. It is the perfect painting. Leonardo chooses you, his friend, and gives it to you. He tells you, take this. This is the best I have ever done. It is for you. Hang it in your living room so that everyone can see the beauty and elevate their spirit. You take the painting, but you think, oh no, it is too beautiful. If I hang it, people will think I am vain. Better not. Better to be humble. So you take the painting, wrap it in a dirty old blanket, and use it to cover a damp stain in the basement. Or worse yet, you use it as a board to chop onions. One day, Leonardo returns to your house. He asks you, friend, where is my work? I want to see how the afternoon light hits it. You take him to the basement and show him. You show him the dirty bundle on the floor. You say, look, Leonardo, I am so humble that I didn't want to brag about your gift. I have it here, hidden and dirty, so as not to offend anyone. What do you think Leonardo would feel? Would he feel honored by your modesty? No, he would feel deeply insulted. He would feel that you have despised his effort, his talent, and his love. He would feel that you are an ingrate and an idiot, incapable of appreciating beauty. He would probably take the painting back and give it to someone who had the courage to hang it and light it. You are the painting. You are the masterpiece in which infinite intelligence has invested millions of years of biological, cosmic, and spiritual evolution. Your talents, your body, your mind, your capacity to love and to create are the strokes of the master. When you hide, when you play dumb, when you deny your power, you are insulting the artist. The only way to honor the artist is to exhibit the work. It is to stand in the center of the room, turn on the spotlights and say, look at what God has done through me. Look what a marvel. I am not the author, but I am the canvas, and I am proud to carry this painting. That is real worship. To shine is to worship. The fallacy of I am not worthy. The favorite mantra of the false humble is, I am not worthy, I am a sinner, I am trash. This sounds very pious in certain churches, but it is metaphysically absurd. If God is infinite, and God is everywhere, then God is in you. In fact, the energy that makes your heart beat right now is God. You have the life of God. Saying I am trash is saying God in me is trash. It is a blasphemy against life itself. The feeling of unworthiness is a trap of the ego. The ego feels separate, it feels small, and to justify its smallness, it invents the story that it is not worth it. But your spirit knows the truth. Your spirit knows you are a prince. You are the heir to all the laws and riches of creation. When you reject abundance, money, love, success, under the excuse of not being worthy, you are questioning God's judgment. If God puts an opportunity in front of you, it is because He has decided you are worthy. Who are you to contradict Him? Do you know more than God? If the universe sends you €1,000,000 and you say, no, it's too much for me, you are saying, universe, you got the address wrong. I know better than you who deserves this. That is inverse arrogance. Accept the gift. Say, thank you. and use it. The fear of light, our true shadow. Marianne Williamson wrote the most famous passage about this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Why does our light scare us? Because light carries responsibility. If you accept that you are trash, nothing is expected of you. You can stay on the sofa and complain it is comfortable to be trash, but if you accept that you are powerful beyond measure, then, my friend, you are out of excuses. Then you have the duty to change the world. You have the duty to lead and to heal. And that is terrifying. We prefer false humility because it is a safe refuge against greatness. We make ourselves small so that no one asks anything of us. We make ourselves small so we don't have to prove what we are made of. Playing small does not serve the world, the quote continues. God did not design you to be a burnt bulb. He designed you to be a lighthouse. A lighthouse does not apologize for its light. A lighthouse does not say, "Oh, I will shine less because that boat over there has a very small sail." The lighthouse shines at its maximum so that no one crashes against the rocks. Your brilliance saves lives. Turning yourself off is an act of egoism, the sin of mediocrity. Let's redefine the word sin. In its Greek origin, hamartia, sin did not mean to do something morally bad. It meant to miss the mark. It was an archery term. If you aim at the center of the target, your divine potential, and the arrow falls short, you have sinned. You have missed the shot. Under this definition, mediocrity is sin. If you have the potential to be an excellent entrepreneur and you settle for a job you hate out of laziness or fear, you are sinning. You are wasting the temple that was given to you. God is not going to judge you for whether you ate meat on Friday. Those are human rules of control. The question that universal consciousness will ask you at the end of your life is, I gave you infinite potential. What did you do with it? Did you multiply it? Did you expand it? Or did you bury it under a layer of false humility and fear? Mediocrity is the real hell. It is the state of disconnection from your purpose. Do not seek to be good according to the mediocre norms of society. Seek to be excellent. Excellence is the language of God. Look at a flower, a galaxy, or an atom. Everything is made with a terrifying and perfect excellence. There is nothing half done in nature. You are nature, do not stay half done. Co-creation. You are the hands of God. There is an old story of a farmer who buys a plot of land full of stones and weeds. He works for years, removes the stones, plows the earth, plants seeds, and creates a beautiful garden. A priest passes by and says, "My son, what a wonderful work you and God have done with this garden." The farmer wipes his sweat and responds. He says, "Yes, Father, but you should have seen the state this was in when God was running it alone." This joke holds a deep theological truth. God, in his absolute aspect, creates the potential. But God needs man to actualize that potential into concrete form. Without your action and work, God's potential remains sterile. You are the co-creator. You are the hands of God on earth. God cannot build a school, write a book, or create a company without you. He needs your body and mind to execute his will of expansion. When you make yourself small, you are cutting off God's hands. You are preventing him from acting through you. Your ambition is actually God's ambition, wanting to express itself. That desire to write the book is God wanting to speak. That desire to be rich is God wanting to circulate resources. Do not repress the divine desire with your human morality of scarcity. Worship as expansion. Traditional religion has taught you that to worship is to contract, to kneel, to bow your head, to make yourself small before the great. That is the worship of a slave to a master. But there is another form, that of the child to the father, or the artist to the muse. It is worship through expansion. When an athlete runs the 100 meters and breaks the world record, in that moment of physical and mental ecstasy, they are worshiping. They are taking the human machine to its absolute limit. God smiles when he sees Usain Bolt run. God smiles when he sees you closing an ethical million-dollar deal. Because in the expansion of your limits, you are exploring God's territory. Your personal growth is your liturgy. Your professional development is your offering. Every time you overcome a fear, you are lighting a candle on the altar of truth. Stop seeing your mundane life as separate from your spiritual life. Everything is spiritual. Making money is spiritual if you do it with excellence and purpose. Make your life an offering of greatness. Tell God, "Look, Father, look at what I can do with the gifts you gave me. Look how high I can fly." The dirty mirror, cleaning the identity. Sufi mystics say the heart is a mirror. If the mirror is clean, it reflects God's light perfectly. If it is dirty, full of rust and mud, it reflects nothing. The mud is the ego. But beware, the ego is not just arrogance, it is also victimization. Both are stains. False humility is mud. It is a crust of poor me. That crust prevents the light from passing. To honor the architect, you have to clean the mirror. You have to get out of the way. And getting out of the way does not mean disappearing. It means becoming transparent. When you are transparent, you allow infinite power to flow through you without resistance. But for it to be done, the channel you must be wide, strong, and clean. A narrow channel blocked by fear, I am unworthy, only lets a trickle of water through. A wide and brave channel, I am ready, lets a river pass. Your spiritual work is to widen the channel. It is to dare to ask for more and be more. The hypocrisy of judging creation. Let's go back to the insult. If you see a beautiful person and say, "What beauty God has created," that is praise. If you see an incredible landscape and say, "What a marvel," that is praise. But then you look in the mirror and say, "How ugly I am, how stupid I am worth nothing." Why does your judgment change? Are you not also part of the landscape? Are you not also the work of the same Creator? Judging yourself is as arrogant as judging a mountain or a star. You have no right to criticize God's work, even if that work is you. Your self-criticism is not realism, it is cosmic disrespect. Treat yourself as divine. From servant to heir. In the Bible, there is an evolution in the relationship with God. At first we are creation, then we are servants. Then Jesus says, "I no longer call you servants, I call you friends." And finally, St. Paul speaks of being heirs. A servant asks for permission. A servant fears the master, an heir does not. The king's child lives in the palace. He eats at the king's table. He does not ask permission to open the fridge. It is his house. He has access to the treasury to manage the kingdom. You continue to behave like a frightened servant. But the will says, you are the heir. The inheritance is there. Abundance, health, power. They are in the cosmic bank account in your name, but you won't withdraw them because you feel unworthy. And the account stays full, and you stay poor. And the father wonders, why does my child live like a beggar if I left him everything? Stop acting like God's employee, start acting like a partner. The danger of the void. Jesus told a parable about an unclean spirit that leaves a man. The man cleans his house, his mind, and leaves it swept, but empty. The spirit returns, sees the empty house, and brings 7 spirits worse than itself. This is a warning against empty humility. If you empty yourself of ego but don't fill yourself with purpose, you are vulnerable. The void attracts demons, neurosis, fears, obsessions. Nature abhors a vacuum. Do not seek to empty yourself to be humble. Seek to fill yourself. Fill yourself so much with divine purpose that there is no room for fear. Fullness is the protection. Occupy your house. Occupy your body. Occupy your life. Chapter 4, False Modesty. The ego disguised as a saint. Welcome to the masquerade ball. Look around and you will see 2 types of people. On one side there is the classic arrogant, puffed-out chest, loud voice, talking about his millions and his conquests. He is annoying, yes, but he is transparent. You see him coming from miles away. You know he is an insecure child screaming for attention. On the other side, in a dark corner, stands the saint. Head bowed, discreet clothing, soft voice. He always says, "Oh no, I don't know anything." He always says, "Don't worry about me, I'll manage with the leftovers." He always says, "The important thing is that you are okay." Society has trained you to applaud the latter and boo the former. But I am here to tell you that, under the microscope of spiritual truth, both are exactly the same. Both are narcissists. Both are obsessed with themselves. The only difference is the marketing strategy. The arrogant seeks validation through superiority. Look at me, I am more than you. The false modest seeks validation through inferiority. Look at me, I am less than you, please lift me up. Today we are going to unmask poor little me. We are going to see why false modesty is, in reality, an aggressive form of manipulation, cowardice, and energy vampirism. Inverted narcissism, the black mirror. Let's define narcissism. It is not loving oneself, that is mental health. Narcissism is the obsession with one's own self-image. It is the inability to see the other because you are too busy looking at your reflection. The falsely modest person believes they have no ego because they criticize themselves. I am so clumsy, this turned out so badly, I'm good for nothing. They believe that is humility. Error, analyze the phrase. What is the subject of the sentence? I am clumsy. It went wrong for me. I am not worthy. I. The false modest person spends 100% of their time thinking about themselves. They think about how others see them. They think about their failures. They think about their inadequacy. They are not thinking about God. They are not thinking about serving others. They are not thinking about the mission. They are trapped in a loop of negative self-reference. If you are worried about looking inadequate, you are being vain. Your focus is on your image, not your contribution. True humility, greatness, does not worry about the image. It enters the room and thinks, what does this situation need? How can I solve this problem? It forgets itself because it is busy being useful. The false modest is useless because their energy is hijacked by neurosis. Fishing for compliments. Let's analyze the social dynamic of false modesty. It is a covert commercial transaction. Imagine you say, "Oh, I'm so fat today. I look horrible." What do you expect the other person to answer? Do you expect them to say, "Yes, the truth is you're a mess"? No. If they say that, you get offended and cry. What you are waiting for is for them to say, "What are you talking about? You look great." Don't say silly things. You are very handsome. Aha, you've been caught. You have thrown a hook of negativity to fish for a compliment. You have manipulated the other person to boost your self-esteem because you lack the courage to boost it yourself. This is energy vampirism. You force your friends, partner, or colleagues to do the emotional work of constantly validating you. It is exhausting to be near a false modest person. You always have to be lifting them off the ground. You always have to assure them they aren't a bother or that they did well. You are giving them your vital energy to fill their leaky bucket, and they pay you with a sad smile and a, "Thank you, you are so good to me, I don't deserve you." It is a scam. Stop fishing for compliments. If you feel handsome, say, "I feel handsome." If you feel ugly, do something about it or shut up. The shield of incompetence. False modesty has a brilliant tactical utility. It serves to avoid responsibilities. If you present yourself as small, stupid, or incapable, no one will ask you to lead. No one will ask you to carry the weight of a decision. No one will blame you if something goes wrong because you already warned them you didn't know. It is a life insurance policy against failure. Don't ask me to lead the project, I am just a humble employee. Translation, I am afraid of screwing up, and I prefer to hide behind my supposed humility so as not to risk my neck. That is not virtue. It is cowardice disguised as prudence. The arrogant at least takes a risk. The arrogant says, "I can do it." Sometimes he fails and crashes, but other times he succeeds and moves the world forward. The false modest never crashes, but he never takes off either. He lives in the limbo of safe mediocrity, protected by his shield of, "I am not worthy." God did not give you talents to hide them. The martyr syndrome, the tyranny of the victim. Here we enter the darkest terrain of family and religious psychology. The martyr, the mother who eats the burnt toast so that you can eat the good ones. The father who doesn't buy new clothes for 10 years so the children want for nothing. The friend who always gives in and says whatever you want. At first glance they seem like saints, but look closer, look at their eyes. Do you see joy? No, you see resentment. The martyr keeps a detailed account of all their sacrifices, and sooner or later they will hand you the bill. After all I've done for you, is this how you pay me back? The martyr uses their suffering as moral currency. They nullify themselves to create debt in others. If I cancel myself for you, you are in debt to me forever. You owe me your life, your obedience, and your attention. It is the most sophisticated form of control and manipulation. It is passive aggressiveness. I don't attack you with a knife. I attack you with my pain. I attack you with my excessive goodness that suffocates you. The healthy and sovereign person gives from abundance, not sacrifice. If they want the good toast, they eat it. If they give something, they give it and forget it. They don't keep count. They distrust anyone who takes the bread out of their own mouth if it is not strictly necessary. They are likely trying to buy your soul with that piece of bread. The moral superiority of the poor. Nietzsche saw it clearly. When you cannot be rich, powerful, or beautiful, you invent the idea that those things are bad and that being poor, weak, and ugly is good. You build a throne of morality upon your own lack. Look at the spiritually humble person who goes to yoga class. They look with contempt at the girl who arrives with a designer bag and a sports car. They think, how materialistic, how unevolved. I, who come by bike and wear second-hand clothes, am more spiritual. Boom, ego, pure and simple ego. They feel superior. They feel more than her. They have turned their austerity into a status symbol. This is the spiritual ego. It is the hardest to eradicate because it hides behind God. They believe their poverty gives them the right to judge others' wealth. But judgment is judgment, coming from a millionaire or a monk. And judgment is always separation. The fear of envy, the evil eye. In many cultures, false modesty is a superstitious defense mechanism. We believe in the evil eye. We believe that if we say, I'm doing great, I'm happy, I have money, we will attract the envy of the gods or neighbors, and a misfortune will befall us. It is the magic thinking of the tribe. If I stand out, they'll throw stones. So we learn to lower the profile. If asked, how are you, and we reply, getting by in the struggle, we can't complain. We never say, I am fantastic, my life is a blessing. We are afraid of invoking the demon of envy, but by doing this, we are decreeing mediocrity. Your word is your magic wand. If you say getting by, your subconscious programs itself to just barely survive. If you say in the struggle, you are decreeing war and conflict. You are cursing your own life to protect yourself from an imaginary threat. The antidote to the evil eye is to shine brighter. If your light is a laser, envy burns up. The hypocrisy of it's nothing. You spend 3 months working on a project. You give your all, it's perfect. Your boss congratulates you. You say, bah, it was nothing. Anyone could have done it. Liar, you know it wasn't nothing. You know it cost you blood. By saying that, you are devaluing your work and insulting the truth. You are being arrogant. You are implying that what would be hard for others is nothing for you. The correct response is, thank you. I worked very hard on this, and I'm proud of the result. I appreciate that you value it. That is truth. That is dignity. It closes the energy cycle. The sabotage of intimacy. False modesty kills relationships. How can you love someone who won't let themselves be loved? How can you praise someone who rejects your praise? It is like trying to hug a porcupine. If your partner says, I want you, you're sexy, and you reply, no way, I'm fat, you are killing the libido. You are telling your partner, your desire is wrong, your taste is bad. Eventually your partner will stop telling you, not because they don't think it, but because they are tired of you contradicting them. Intimacy requires vulnerability, and the greatest vulnerability is showing your virtues and letting them be loved. The leader who doesn't lead. In the professional field, false modesty is negligence. A leader who is too humble is a danger to the team. If there is a crisis, the team doesn't want a leader who says, well, I don't know, let's all decide. The team wants someone who says, I'll handle it, I know what to do, follow me. That is not tyranny, it is service. In moments of chaos, clarity and certainty are the greatest gifts you can give. To play small in a crisis is to abandon the ship. The captain cannot be modest with his authority during the storm. He must be absolute. Take command not for ego but for responsibility. The solution, radical honesty. How do we exit this swamp of hypocrisy? With a surgical tool, radical honesty. Stop trying to be modest or arrogant. Simply be precise. Be a notary of reality. If you are the best salesman and they ask, say, yes, my numbers are the best this year. Fact. If you don't know something, say, I have no idea how to do this. Fact. If you are handsome and they tell you, say, thank you. Acceptance of fact. Radical honesty eliminates the drama and the need to pretend. It allows you to rest. Pretending to be less than you are consumes a brutal amount of energy. The mantra of integrity. I am. God defined himself to Moses as I am that I am. He didn't say I am the one trying to be or I am a humble servant. He said I am. It is the affirmation of pure and potent existence. You have to recover your I am. Stop diluting it. I am strong. I am rich. I am valuable. At first, your throat will close. Your false modesty programming will try to suffocate the words. You will feel like you are sinning. Keep saying it. Break the gag. You aren't saying you are better than others. You are saying you are you. And being you is the only thing the universe asked you to do. Chapter 5. The Parable of the Talents, the Sin of Burying Gold. Welcome to the court of the universe. Many people have an image of God as a kind, slightly senile grandfather who pats us on the back no matter what we do. They believe the spiritual message is, relax, it doesn't matter. The important thing is to participate. They believe being good is simply not hurting anyone. But if we read the sacred text without the filter of modern goody-goodyism, we find something very different. We find a brutal demand for performance. We find that life is not a free gift, it is an investment. And like any investment, the investor, God, expects a return on investment, ROI. There is a story told in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, that should make your knees tremble if you have been playing at being small. It is the parable of the talents. It is not a story about money. It is a story about potential and responsibility. It is proof that the humility of fear is an unpardonable evil. The crime scene asset allocation. Let us recall the story. A rich man, the master God, goes on a trip and calls his 3 servants to entrust them with his goods. He does not give them a list of moral rules. He gives them capital. He gives them talents. In antiquity, a talent was an immense fortune. Today, the word talent means a gift. The metaphor is perfect. To the first, he gives 5 talents. To the second, 2 talents. To the third, 1 talent. Important note, to each according to his ability. God is not a communist. He does not give the same to everyone. He is meritocratic and realistic. He knows not everyone has the same spiritual bandwidth. Inequality of start is part of the divine design. The master leaves. The one who received 5 goes at once, trades, risks, and earns 5 more. Total, 10. The one who received 2 does the same and earns 2 more. Total, 4. Both doubled the investment. Both grew. But the third, the protagonist of our lie of humility, is afraid. He thinks the master is hard, better to play it safe. He digs a hole in the ground and hides the money. He protects it. He keeps it intact. He feels good and responsible. He didn't spend it on vices. He simply kept it. For today's society, this third servant is a model citizen, a saver, conservative, humble, without delusions of grandeur. The final judgment, the investor's wrath. The master returns and asks for accounts. The one with 10 talents presents them. Lord, here are your 5 and another 5 I earned. The master says, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in a few things. I will put you in charge of many. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Note, the reward is more work and more power. The same occurs with the one with 4 talents. Then comes the third, the humble one. He comes with his talent dirty with earth, but intact. He gives his excuse. Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, so I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. The servant expects a pat on the back. But the master's response is terrifying. He does not call him prudent. He does not call him humble. He says, you wicked and slothful servant. Other translations say, useless. Wicked. Why wicked? He didn't steal. He is wicked because he rendered God's energy useless. Stagnant energy is death energy. The master continues, you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. And he dictates the sentence, take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10. and cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The crime of preservation, status quo. Here is the theological key that destroys false humility. The third servant was condemned for maintenance. His sin was trying to stay the same. His sin was the fear of risk. God is pure dynamics. The universe expands at the speed of light. Your cells renew. Plants grow or die. Staying the same does not exist in nature. If you are not growing, you are dying. The attempt to preserve your life, your ego, or your image intact is an act against nature. When you say, "I'm fine like this, I don't need more, I'm content with my small life," you are acting like the third servant. You are burying the talent. You think it's virtue, but it's spiritual neglect. Life was given to you so that you may multiply it. Love was given so that you may expand it. Intelligence was given to solve problems. If you die being the same person you were when you were born, you have failed. You have returned the talent without interest. You have occupied space and consumed oxygen uselessly. The Matthew effect, law of the spiritual jungle. From this parable arises a principle known as the Matthew effect. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. It sounds cruel. It sounds like wild capitalism. Why take from the poor to give to the rich? Because it is not a moral punishment. It is a mechanical law of flow. Imagine a pipe. If the pipe, you, allows a lot of water, talents, energy, to pass and directs it well, the engineer, God, will connect more flow to that pipe. It's logical. The pipe holds and distributes. But if the pipe is blocked by fear, the flow is diverted. Water must flow. It cannot stand still. If you do not use your talent, you lose it. If you do not use your muscles, they atrophy. If you do not use your money, invest, circulate it, inflation eats it. Even what he has will be taken away. Atrophy is the automatic punishment for inaction. Conversely, if you use it, you gain capacity. Fear as an insult. The third servant said, "I was afraid." That was his justification. For modern society, fear is a valid excuse. Poor thing, he has anxiety. Don't pressure him. For the master of the parable, fear is not an excuse. It is an accusation. To be afraid to use God's gifts is to insult God's protection. If God gives you a mission, he gives you the resources. To doubt that is to doubt the commander. The humble servant actually thought the master was an unjust tyrant. His theology was rotten. He saw God as an enemy, not a partner. Your vision of God determines your level of risk. False humility is born from a theology of terror. The definition of wicked and slothful. Let's analyze the adjectives. Wicked and slothful. Slothful. It does not refer to sleeping too much. It refers to spiritual laziness. The refusal to do the hard work of growing. It is easier to be poor than rich. Wealth requires risk and study. It is easier to be an obedient employee than a responsible entrepreneur. Humility is often the disguise of laziness. I don't want the responsibility of being great, so I'll say I'm humble. Wicked. Why wicked? Because he deprived the world of the benefit of his talent. If he had invested, he would have moved the economy. Your smallness impoverishes the whole world. Omission is an active sin. Risk is mandatory. The first two servants took risks. To earn another 5 talents, the first had to put the original 5 at stake. He could have lost them. The market could have crashed. But the master does not punish honest failure in the attempt of expansion. He punishes the lack of attempt. The parable implies that God loves risk. Faith, by definition, is risk. Faith is walking on water without seeing the bottom. Security is staying in the boat. The humble servant chose security. The faithful servant chose risk. The current system sells you security. God sells you adventure. If your life is completely safe and controlled, you are burying your talent. The gnashing of teeth is not a place of fire. It is the anguish of the regret of knowing that you could have been more and you didn't dare. God's banking compound interest. The master says, "You ought to have given my money to the bankers." Even if you were afraid to entrepreneur, you should have put it in passive circulation. Do something. Anything is better than absolute stasis. This applies to your life. If you're afraid to launch a global company, at least start a small local business. Put energy into motion. Compound interest works in everything: money, knowledge, relationships. A small step today multiplies exponentially in 10 years, but 0 multiplied by 10 years is still 0. The useless servant chose 0. You are a high-risk investment. Look in the mirror. You are a biological machine of astounding complexity. You have a brain with billions of neural connections. You have a soul capable of touching the infinite. Creating a human being like you costs an astronomical amount of universal energy. You are a venture capital investment of the universe. God bet heavily on you. He did not create you to be a safe, boring treasury bond yielding 0.1% interest. He created you to be a unicorn startup. He expects a return of 10x, 100x, 1000x. Jesus said, "The works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do." Greater, that is growth expectation. The false virtue of poverty. For centuries, the church has preached that poverty is a virtue. This parable destroys that idea. The master is rich. The good servants get rich. The wicked servant stays poor and gets what he has taken away. Wealth is the natural result of alignment with the law of expansion. Poverty is a temporary condition to resolve. There is no dignity in choosing to be poor when you have the capacity to be prosperous. It is like choosing to be sick when you have the medicine in your hand. It is ingratitude. If you have a talent for making money. Make tons of it, and then use it to expand the kingdom by creating beauty, justice, and help. The theft from the community. There is a social aspect to this. The servant who multiplied the talents had to interact with the world. To earn money, he had to provide value to others. His wealth is proof that he was useful to society. In an honest market, money is a certificate of service. The servant who buried the talent served no one. He isolated himself. His humility was an act of extreme selfishness. He didn't think about the clients who were not served. He only thought about his own safety. False modesty isolates you. Ambition connects you. To be great, you must serve many. To be small, you only serve yourself. The identity of the single talent. Notice that it was the man with only one talent who failed. Sometimes we feel we have little to offer. I'm not a genius like Elon Musk, and because we believe we have little, we decide it's not worth the effort. That is the single talent trap. The master didn't ask for 5, he would have been happy with 2. God doesn't ask for impossible results, he asks for relative performance. If you are a street sweeper, be the best in the world and sweep with dignity. That is multiplying the talent. Don't use comparison as an excuse to not do your part. The sin is not having little, the sin is doing nothing with that little. Chapter 6, Divine Arrogance. The Real Identity. Welcome to the throne. How do you feel reading the title of this chapter? Divine Arrogance. You probably feel a contraction in your stomach. Your religious and social programming is screaming, "Red alert, sin, Lucifer fell because of his pride." You have been taught to fear the word arrogance more than the plague. You have been taught that believing yourself to be much is the direct path to perdition. But what if I told you that the only reason you feel lost is because you believe you are little? What if I told you that the world is not broken by an excess of arrogance, but by an excess of false modesty? Most of the world's problems, wars, greed, violence, are not caused by people who believe they are gods. They are caused by people who feel like insecure worms and try to compensate for that void by destroying others. The true real identity is not humble in the modern sense. It is absolute. It is non-negotiable. It is massive. Today we are going to learn to inhabit a state of consciousness that society calls arrogance, but which the Spirit calls truth. We are going to learn to take ownership of the I am without making apologies. The most arrogant man in history. Let's talk about Jesus of Nazareth. He is sold as the model of humility, the lamb, the servant. But read what he said. Imagine your neighbor, a 30-year-old carpenter, stands in the middle of the town square and shouts, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the light of the world. Before Abraham was, I am." If someone said that today, we would lock them in a psychiatric ward and diagnose them with delusions of grandeur and malignant narcissism. However, we worship Jesus. Why? because his words were not born from an insecure ego needing validation. They were born from an absolute knowledge of his spiritual identity. He was not bragging, he was describing a fact. If the sun says, "I am hot," it is not arrogance, it is thermodynamics. If the ocean says, "I am deep," it is not vanity, it is geography. Jesus operated from divine arrogance. He knew who he was, the Son of God, and he was not afraid to say it, even if it offended the religious leaders of his time who preferred false humility. He did not lower his frequency to fit in. On the contrary, he raised his frequency so high that he forced us to look up. You are called to do the same. Do. You are called to say, "I am powerful, I am abundant, I am creative," not as a hope but as a fact. The anatomy of I am. The words I am are the master key to creation. In the metaphysical tradition, I am is the name of God. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe and giving it a direction. If you say, "I am stupid," you are using the power of God to create stupidity. If you say, "I am poor," you are using the power of God to create scarcity. If you say, "I am incapable," you are using the power of God to bind your own hands. False humility forces you to use the I am against yourself. I am just a sinner. I am a small thing. That is black magic. You are cursing yourself with God's name. Divine arrogance consists of using the I am to align yourself with your original nature. Your original nature is greatness. Therefore, saying I am great is the purest act of honesty that exists. You do not say it so they applaud you. You say it to remind yourself of your lineage. When you align with that truth, physical reality begins to reorganize itself to reflect that greatness. The mirror has no choice. If you project a king, the mirror reflects a king. Differentiating ego versus spirit, the acid test. This is where people get confused and where critics attack. But won't this turn into a monstrous ego? There is a crucial difference between the arrogance of the ego, toxic, and divine arrogance, sovereign. You must learn to distinguish them, because externally they may look alike, but internally they are opposites. The arrogance of the ego, insecurity. Origin, fear, and lack. I am not enough, so I have to pretend I am much. Comparison. It needs others to be less. I am better than you. Fragility. If someone doesn't recognize it, it gets angry or depressed. It needs external applause like air. Energy, heavy, contractive, defensive. Divine arrogance, certainty. Origin, love and fullness. I'm an extension of the source, therefore I am complete. Unity, it does not compete. I am magnificent just as you can be. It invites elevation. Anti-fragility. It doesn't need applause, it validates itself. Energy, light, expansive, magnetic. I give of myself. The divine arrogant doesn't enter the room thinking, I hope everyone notices how cool I am. He enters thinking, I know I am a carrier of light. I'm going to illuminate this place. The difference is in the intention. Is it to receive, ego, or to give, spirit? If your greatness serves others, it is not ego. It is service. The sin of denying your rank. Imagine an army general who, on the day of battle, takes off his stars, puts on a private's uniform, and hides in a trench because he doesn't want to look arrogant. Is that humility? No, it is desertion. By denying his rank, he deprives his army of leadership. He causes chaos. His soldiers die because he did not want to assume authority. You have a cosmic rank. You are a co-creator. You have authority over your life, your body, and your finances. When you play at being small, you are deserting. You are leaving your throne empty. And when a throne is empty, it is occupied by tyrants, fear, doubt, and the manipulation of others. Assuming your rank requires what I call spiritual audacity. It is the ability to stand before life and give orders, not please. Do not say, please, life, give me a little money if it's not too much trouble. Say, I am the source of my wealth. I command that my talents be monetized now. I accept abundance. It sounds arrogant to the slave. It sounds natural to the king. The imposter syndrome. The lie of separation. Many people do not assume their divine arrogance because they suffer from imposter syndrome. Who do you think you are to write a book, found a company, charge so much? The usual self-help answer is, you are valuable, you can do it. My answer is more radical. It is not you who does it. Imposter syndrome exists because you believe that you, your small ego, your personal history, is the one who has to be great. And of course, your ego knows it is limited. It knows it is afraid. That's why it feels like a fraud. But divine arrogance does not trust the ego. It trusts the force that inhabits you. When an electric cable transmits 10,000 volts, it doesn't say, "Oh, I'm just a little copper wire, I don't deserve so much energy." The cable knows it is not the electricity, it is the channel. You are the cable. Genius is not yours, it is God's passing through you. That's why you cannot be an imposter. You cannot fake God's energy. You either let it pass or you block it. If you let it pass, you are magnificent. And that magnificence is not your merit, to inflate the ego, nor your fault, to feel shame. It is simply your function. Stop asking, who am I to be brilliant? The question is, who are you to block brilliance? The voice of command, the language of creation. In Genesis, God creates the world by speaking, "Let there be light." And there was light. He didn't say, "Well, let's see if we can have a little light, please." It was an imperative. You are made in that image. Your voice has creative power. But you have been trained to speak in subjunctive and conditional. I would like, I wish, I hope. That is the language of impotence. Divine arrogance recovers the imperative. Start speaking with authority over your own reality. Don't shout at people. Speak to the energy. Body, heal yourself. Mind, focus. Bank account, grow. Opportunity, appear. Try it. Feel the vibratory difference in your throat. When you speak with authority, your cells vibrate differently. Your spine straightens. The universe responds to the frequency of the command, not the frequency of the plea. The plea implies, "I don't have it." The command implies, "It is already mine and I am manifesting it." Jesus did not ask the sick to get well. He commanded them, "Get up and walk. Be Christ-like. Command your life to get up." Occupying space, the soul spreading. Society has taught you to contract physically and energetically. Cross your legs, close your shoulders, lower your voice. Don't disturb. This is especially true for women, but also for good men. Divine arrogance implies a territorial expansion. Imagine that your aura, your energy field, occupies only 2 centimeters. That is living in survival mode. Now I want you to visualize that your energy expands. It fills the room you are in. It fills the house. It fills the neighborhood. It fills the city. When you enter a business meeting or a party, do not enter asking for permission. Enter filling the space with your intention. Notice how people turn around. Notice how they respect you. They don't know why, but they feel that someone has arrived. They have felt your gravity. Massive bodies have gravity. Massive souls have charisma. You cannot have gravity if you compress yourself into an invisible point. Expand. It is safe to occupy space. The virtue of intimidation. Sometimes your divine arrogance will intimidate others. They will tell you you are very intense. You are scary. You are too much. Before, this made you feel guilty, and you would shrink. Now, you will understand what is happening. Your light is revealing their shadows. Your certainty is revealing their doubts. Your power is revealing their impotence. They are not attacking you. They are reacting to the discomfort of seeing themselves in your mirror. Do not apologize for intimidating the demons of others. That intimidation is necessary. Sometimes people need to be shaken. They need to see someone so free, so strong, and so sure that the mental scheme of life is suffering is broken for them. Your freedom is an insult to their slavery, and that insult is the first step toward their liberation. Be the shock they need. Pride as fuel. Religion condemns pride. I tell you that pride is the backbone of integrity. I am not talking about vain pride. Look at my car. I am talking about the pride of the artisan. The pride of saying, I do not make garbage, I make excellence. I am talking about the pride of dignity. The pride of saying, I do not allow them to treat me poorly, I am worth more. Without this pride, you are a doormat. Without this pride, you accept mediocre jobs, abusive relationships, and starvation wages. You need a massive dose of divine arrogance to say no. No, I will not accept that price. That no is born from the conviction that you are a sacred temple. You do not let people enter with dirty shoes into a temple. Your pride is the guardian of the gate. If you kill your pride, as false humility asks, you leave the door open to all thieves and parasites. Recover your sacred pride. The birthright, the inheritance. Let's go back to the metaphor of the king's son. The king's son doesn't live in the palace because he earned it by working hard. He lives there because he was born there. It is his blood right. You are a child of life. Abundance, health, and joy are your birthright. You don't have to earn them by suffering. You only have to claim them. Divine arrogance is the attitude of the heir who goes to the notary to sign the papers. He doesn't go trembling. He doesn't go asking for forgiveness. He goes with dignity, signs, and takes the keys. The universe has an inheritance in your name that is gathering dust because you still believe you have to be a beggar to be good. Go to the cosmic bank. Hit the table. Say, "It is I. I have come to collect, and I am going to use it all." Practice the mirror exercise God level. This exercise is uncomfortable. Do it alone. Stand in front of the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. Left pupil, emotional connection. Breathe deeply. Stand straight. Say out loud, "I am the greatness of God manifested." Observe your reaction. Do you laugh? Do you feel ashamed? Do you feel guilt? Repeat it. Raise the volume. I am powerful, I am sacred, I am unlimited. Keep going until you believe it. Keep going until you feel a real chill running down your back. That chill is your spirit recognizing itself after years of amnesia. It is the lion roaring in the mirror. Do this every morning for 21 days. Your posture will change, your voice will change, your bank account will change, because the world cannot treat as a beggar one who knows himself to be king. Chapter 7, The Tall Poppy Syndrome. Crabs in the bucket. Welcome to the firing squad. In previous chapters, you shed your mental chains. You claimed your divine arrogance. You stood up. But what happens when you stand in a stadium where everyone else is seated? You block the view of those behind you. You become a nuisance. You become an easy target. There is a brutal sociological phenomenon known as the tall poppy syndrome. The premise is simple. In a field of poppies, all must be the same height. If one grows faster and taller, seeking the sun with more hunger, it is cut down. It is not celebrated. The scythe is passed over it to level it with the mediocre average. You are that poppy. And the scythe is not wielded by a hooded executioner. It is wielded by your co-workers. It is wielded by your childhood friends. It is wielded painfully by your own family. They will say you have changed. They will say it's gone to your head. They will call you selfish, delusional, or a fraud. It is not personal. It is mechanical. It is the immune system of mediocrity trying to eliminate a foreign body, you, that threatens its homeostasis. Today we will learn to be uncuttable. We will learn to grow so fast and have a stem so hard that the scythe breaks upon striking you. The mechanics of the crab bucket. If you go to a fish market and observe a bucket full of live crabs, you will see something fascinating and tragic. The bucket has no lid. Any crab could, with a little effort, climb the wall and escape toward freedom. But the bucket remains open, and no one escapes. Why? Because the moment one crab starts to climb, the others pull it down. They don't do it out of strategic malice. There is no crab committee planning sabotage. They do it out of instinctive panic. Where are you going? This is where we live. The outside world is dangerous. Come back to the pile. Stay in the dark with us. Your social environment is that bucket. Your friends and family have built an identity based on being together in the struggle, together in the complaint, together in the neighborhood. Your ascent breaks the implicit contract of loyalty to shared suffering. If you escape, you force them to face an unbearable truth. They could escape too, but they lack the courage. Your freedom is a mirror reflecting their cowardice, and no one wants to look into that mirror. So they have two options. 1. Scale with you, requires brutal effort. 2. Pull you down to their level, requires only criticism and emotional manipulation. Option 2 is energetically cheaper. That is why when you say, "I am going to start my company," they say, "Why complicate your life?" That is very risky. You are going to get obsessed. You don't have time for us anymore. Those are the crab's claws trying to return you to the bottom of the bucket. Anatomy of envy, rotten admiration. Envy is the most denied and ubiquitous emotion on the planet. No one says, "I am envious." They say, "I have constructive criticism," or "I am worried about your attitude." But beneath that moral mask there is bile. What is envy really? It is admiration that has rotted due to a lack of hope. The envious person sees in you something they desire for themselves: money, beauty, freedom. Their soul recognizes that value and admires it. But their ego tells them, "You can never have that." That gap between what I see in you and what I believe I can be generates acute pain. To alleviate that pain, the ego transforms admiration into contempt. He's not a genius, he's lucky. She's not disciplined, she's had surgery. They aren't rich, they are thieves. By devaluing you, they devalue the object of their desire, so it no longer hurts not to have it. Understand this: their hatred is not about you. You are only the screen where they project their own movie of frustration. Do not try to explain that they are wrong. Do not try to be the good guy so they won't envy you. Whatever you do, if you shine, you will remind them of their darkness. The only cure for their envy is for them to rise, and that is not in your control. The worry trap, the caring troll. The hardest attack to dodge is not the direct insult. It is false worry. It comes from people who love you or say they love you. "Son, don't work so hard. You'll get sick. I say it for your own good." "Friend, don't get your hopes up about that project. The economy is bad. Be realistic." It looks like love. It sounds like protection. But it is poison. It is fear disguised as care. They are injecting their limits under your skin with a hypodermic needle of affection. They want you to be safe, but their definition of safe is in the same mediocre place where we are. Her ship is safe in the harbor, but ships weren't built for that. When someone says, "I say it for your own good," activate your lie detector. Translate the phrase, "I say it for my comfort." It scares me to see you risk, because if you crash, it will hurt me, and if you succeed, I will feel small. Please stay still. You must learn to disappoint the people who love you to be true to yourself. You must say, "I appreciate your concern, but my vision is different. I am going to take the risk." They love your safety more than your greatness. You must love your greatness more than your safety. The 3 phases of social reaction. When you start applying divine arrogance and acting with greatness, prepare for the inevitable sequence. Mahatma Gandhi summarized it, roughly, but here is the combat version. Phase 1, ridicule. Who does he think he is? Look at the entrepreneur. There goes the enlightened one. They try to use shame to bring you down. They laugh at your new habits. Your response, silence and work. Do not debate. Let them laugh. They are nervous. Phase 2, aggression, criticism and sabotage. When they see you don't stop, that you are serious and starting to have results, the laughter stops. Anger enters. They attack you. They call you arrogant, selfish, a fraud, crazy. They actively try to place obstacles. Your response, accelerate. No one kicks a dead dog. Phase 3, admiration, imitation. When you have already won, when your success is undeniable, suddenly everyone changes. "I always knew you'd make it. How did you do it? Teach me." They boast of knowing you. Your response, selective magnanimity. Forgive, but do not forget. You know who was in the trench and who threw stones. The law of conservation of friends. There is a physical law in personal growth. You cannot change your vibration and keep your circle intact. If you raise your frequency from victim to creator, from poor to rich, and your friends stay in the old frequency, a dissonance occurs. You no longer fit. Conversations bore you. Their jokes seem sad. Their problems seem repetitive. And to them you seem intense, distant, and strange. You are going to lose friends. It is a mathematical fact. Do not see it as a tragedy. See it as a shedding of skin. The snake must shed its old skin to grow. If it clings to dead skin, it suffocates. Your school friends were perfect for your school self, but your sovereign self needs other allies. The void left by old friends is scary. You feel alone. But the void is necessary for the new ones to enter. If your hands are full of stones, mediocre relationships, you cannot grab the diamonds. Let go without guilt. Bless them for what they were and let them go. Do not try to drag them with you. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. You will only succeed in having them drown you. Defense Strategy 1, the Teflon Shield. How do you handle direct criticism? With the Teflon strategy, nothing sticks. Most people make the mistake of defending themselves. Someone says, "You've become very materialistic." And you reply, No, it's just that I'm saving for my future, blah, blah, blah. Error. You lost. The moment you justify yourself, you have accepted their moral framework. You have accepted that they are the judge and you are the accused. You have validated their right to audit you. The sovereign never justifies himself. Never complain, never explain. If they say you've become very materialistic, you respond, "Interesting opinion," or simply smile. Or better yet, apply amplified acceptance. Yes, I love high-quality material things. They are wonderful, aren't they? Boom, disarmed. They cannot attack someone who is not ashamed. Defense Strategy 2, Polarization. If you try to be liked by everyone, you will end up mattering to no one. The strongest brands in the world, Apple, Tesla, Nike, have people who love them and people who hate them. You are a brand. If no one hates you, you are not doing anything relevant. Use criticism to polarize. Define your tribe by opposition. If the mediocre hate you, it is an excellent signal for winners to recognize you. When a winner sees that you are criticized by the masses, they think, "That guy must have something good. He is one of us." Your bad reputation among sheep is your best marketing among lions. Do not soften your message. Do not dilute your personality. Be more you. Turn up the volume. If your light bothers them, give them the high beams. The more you polarize, the stronger the attraction of your true tribe will be. Turning manure into fuel. There is an intermediate phase in growth where you can use a dirty but potent energy, constructive spite. Michael Jordan is famous for this. He would invent offenses or use any minor criticism to ignite his competitive fury and destroy the rival. You said I couldn't? Fine, now I'm going to crush you. Now I'm going to... When they criticize you, do not get depressed. Get angry. Use that rage as fuel to work harder. Every time someone doubts you, visualize their face while you do that last rep in the gym or that last sales call. Tell yourself, "I'm going to be so successful, their disbelief will look like a stupid joke." Warning, this is not the highest energy. The highest is love for the work, but it is an incredibly effective rocket booster to leave the atmosphere. When you are already in orbit, you can let go of the spite. But to take off, use everything you have. Use the crab's hatred to kick harder upward. The solitude of the peak. They have lied to you about the peak. They have told you that it's lonely at the top, and they use that as an excuse to stay at the bottom, where it is warm and full of people. The truth is, yes, the peak is lonely, compared to the overcrowding of the bottom. At the bottom there are millions, at the top there are few, but the quality of the company at the peak is incomparable. It is better to dine alone or with 2 kings than to dine with 1,000 slaves complaining about the food. Besides, the view is spectacular, and the air is clean. Do not be afraid of the solitude of the ascent. It is the filter. It is the desert you have to cross to reach the promised land. In that desert, you will learn to be your own best friend. You will learn not to need external validation, and when you reach the other side, you will find others who also crossed. Tactical forgiveness, non-emotional. There will come a time when you have to forgive the crabs, but not out of religious goodness, but out of tactical efficiency. Hating them consumes energy. Keeping track of who betrayed you occupies RAM in your brain. When you are already at the top, let them go. They are irrelevant. They are not evil, they are simply crabs being crabs. It is their nature. You don't get angry at a dog for barking. Don't get angry at a mediocre person for criticizing. Look at them with anthropological compassion. Look, A human being trapped in the matrix of fear. How curious. And move on. The trial by fire, your family. The final boss of this level is the family. It is easy to ignore an internet troll. It is very hard to ignore your mother crying because you don't visit anymore, because you are working on your empire, or your brother saying you've become a stranger. Blood pulls. Family guilt is the thickest chain. This is where true sovereigns are proven. You have to love your family enough to disappoint their limiting expectations. You must understand that their vision of what's best for you is usually what's safest for you. But you weren't born to be safe. You were born to be great. You can honor your parents without obeying their fears. You can love them from a distance if their proximity is toxic. Jesus said, "He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me." Substitute me for your divine purpose. Family peace must not come before your mission. Chapter 8. A poor savior saves no one. The logistics of good. Welcome to the finance department of the kingdom of heaven. There is a romantic fantasy that has been sold to us in every movie, in every novel, and in every Sunday sermon. The moral superiority of poverty. The idea that money corrupts, that the rich are evil, and that material lack is a certificate of spiritual purity. We love the image of the poor saint, the guru who lives in a cave with a loincloth, the artist who starves but is faithful to his art. It is a beautiful image, poetic. But I have a practical question for you. If you see a child drowning in a lake, whom do you prefer to have nearby? A person with very good intentions who does not know how to swim, who has no rope and who starts to pray on the shore crying with empathy. B, a person with a motorboat, rescue equipment, training, and physical strength. The answer is obvious. You want the one with the boat. The drowning child does not give a damn about the good intentions or the spiritual purity of the person on the shore. He cares about being saved. And to save, resources are needed. Poverty is, operatively speaking, an impotence. It is the inability to exert influence over matter. A poor savior can offer comfort, shared tears, but he cannot offer a solution, change of reality. And if your definition of goodness is limited to crying alongside the one who suffers instead of ending their suffering, your goodness is inefficient. Moreover, it is narcissistic. It makes you feel good about yourself, but it does not help the other. Today we are going to break the taboo. We are going to establish a new truth. Having resources, money, power, influence is a moral duty for any person who considers themselves good. Because if the good renounce power, power remains vacant for the bad. And we already see how the world goes when only psychopaths have the money. The Hollywood lie, Jack versus Cal. Our programming begins in the cinema. Think of Titanic. Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, is poor, but he is vital, romantic, honest, fun, an artist, and good. Cal Hockley, the rich fiancé, is arrogant, cold, abusive, cowardly, and bad. The subliminal message enters directly into your brain. If you want to be loved and happy like Jack, you must be poor. If you are rich like Cal, you will be an unhappy monster. It is the perfect propaganda to keep the masses quiet. Do not rebel against your poverty. You are actually better than them. But the statistical reality is very different. Poverty does not automatically create Jack Dawsons. Chronic poverty creates stress. It creates domestic violence. It creates addictions. It creates desperation. It creates ignorance. When you do not know if you are going to eat tomorrow, your brain enters survival mode, reptilian. And the reptilian brain is not romantic or altruistic. It is selfish and brutal. On the other hand, wealth does not automatically create Cal Hockleys. Wealth releases time. It allows for education. It allows for health. It allows for philanthropy. Bill Gates has saved more lives with his money, vaccines, sanitation, than millions of poor poets with their verses. I am not saying that all rich people are saints. I am saying that wealth is a tool, and demonizing the tool because some use it poorly is as stupid as banning scalpels because Jack the Ripper used one. The scalpel in the hands of a surgeon saves lives. You have to be the surgeon. Money is potential energy, batteries. Let's take the moral weight off money. Money is neither good nor bad. Money is neutral. Money is stored potential energy. It is like a battery. A charged battery can start an ambulance, save a life, or detonate a bomb, kill. The battery has no opinion. The battery only delivers power. Money does the same. It amplifies what you already are. If you are a generous person and I give you 10 million euros, you will be 10 million times more generous. You will build schools, help your family, invest in art. If you are a mean person and I give you 10 million, you will be an unbearable tyrant. If you are an addicted person and I give you 10 million, you will kill yourself with an overdose in a week. Money does not change you. It reveals you. It takes off the brakes. Therefore, if you consider yourself a good person, with values, with love, with consciousness, your obligation is to be rich. Because we need your energy to be amplified. We need your values to have a giant loudspeaker. If you are good but broke, your goodness is a whisper in a hurricane. No one hears it. If you are good and rich, your goodness is a roar that changes legislation and realities. The logistics of compassion. Let's talk about numbers, not feelings. Compassion has a logistical cost. You want to end hunger in your city. Good. How much does a food truck cost? How much does the warehouse cost? How much does the gasoline cost? How much does the staff cost? It is not paid for with hugs. It is paid for with euros or dollars. False humility tells you, I help with my time, I am a volunteer. That is fine, it is noble, but it is limited. You only have 24 hours in a day. Your impact as a volunteer is linear. 1 hour tisast 1 unit of help. If you have money, your impact is exponential. You can pay 100 people to help for 24 hours. You multiply your presence. A poor savior can adopt a stray dog. A rich savior can build a shelter for 500 dogs and finance a sterilization campaign. Scale matters. If you truly care about the cause, the dogs, the children, the planet, you should want the maximum impact possible. And maximum impact requires capital. Renouncing capital is renouncing the efficiency of your love. It is saying, I prefer to feel pure in my poverty than to be effective in my help. That is spiritual egoism. The myth of the root of all evil. Here comes the most cited biblical error in history. People say, the Bible says that money is the root of all evil. False. The original quote, 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the root of all evils is the love of money. In Greek, philogeria, love of silver. There is an abysmal difference. Money is the tool. The love of money, greed, idolatry, is putting the tool above the human being. You can have millions without loving money. You can see it simply like the air, necessary, abundant, and circulating. In fact, paradoxically, the poor think more about money than the rich. When you do not have money to pay the rent, you think about money 24 hours a day. It obsesses you. It takes away your sleep. It generates ulcers. Money controls your life through lack. When you have money to spare, you stop thinking about it. You pay the bills on automatic and dedicate your mind to higher things. True financial freedom is not having a yacht. It is for money to stop being a decision factor in your life. It is being able to choose your work, your home, and your time without looking at the price tag. That freedom allows for spiritual elevation. Constant survival prevents it. Maslow and the spiritual pyramid. Abraham Maslow hierarchized human needs. At the base, physiology, food, shelter, and security. At the top, self-actualization and transcendence. You cannot focus on transcendence, helping humanity, connecting with God, creating art, if you do not have the base covered. It is very difficult to meditate when your gut is roaring or when you fear being evicted. Poverty traps you at the base of the pyramid. It forces you to live in frightened animal mode. Wealth, or at least solid financial stability, is the elevator that takes you out of the survival basement to the purpose attic. When you have your needs covered, your brain releases bandwidth. Suddenly you can ask yourself, what have I come into the world for? Before, you only asked yourself, how do I make it to the end of the month? Therefore, seeking wealth is seeking the necessary platform for your superior spiritual development. It is not materialism. It is the necessary infrastructure for enlightenment. A Buddha can renounce his palace because he already had a palace. He knows it is not the final answer, but you, who have never had the palace, are renouncing something you do not know for a virtue you do not possess. Get the palace first, then if you want, renounce it, but do it from freedom, not from impotence. The narcissism of survival. This is going to sound harsh, but it is necessary. Poverty makes you self-centered. When you are struggling to survive, the world is reduced to you and your problems, your toothache, your debt, your broken car. You have no energy to look at your neighbor. Your compassion becomes saturated. You become reactive, defensive, and closed off. When you are abundant, you can look up. You can see the pain of others because your own is managed. You can be generous because you are not afraid of being left with nothing. Real generosity requires a surplus. You can only give what you have left over, energetically or materially. If you give what you lack, sacrifice, you generate resentment. To be a true servant of the world, you have to fill your own cup until it overflows. The world drinks from your overflow, not from your bottom. Ensure that your cup is so full of resources that giving is a pleasure, not a loss. The vow of poverty versus the vow of stewardship. Many spiritual souls have unconsciously a vow of poverty inherited from past lives or religious ancestors. They believe God wants them to be poor to be holy. We are going to break that vow and sign a new one. The vow of administration, stewardship. In healthy prosperity theology, you are not the owner of the money. You are the manager. The money belongs to God, universal energy. God seeks competent managers to move that energy on earth. If you demonstrate that you know how to move money with ethics, efficiency, and love, God will send you more. Not so you can buy 20 cars, that is ego, but because He knows that in your hands the money will do good. The universe is desperately looking for clean channels to distribute wealth. There is a lot of wealth blocked in the hands of greedy people because good people refuse to touch it. If you volunteer and say to God, I am ready, send me millions. I promise not to become corrupt. I promise to use them to expand consciousness and alleviate suffering. I promise to enjoy life and at the same time serve others. That is a contract the universe wants to sign. Stop rejecting the position. The spirituality of the transaction. Every time you earn money honestly, a spiritual miracle has occurred. Think about it. Money is a certificate of appreciation. If I give you 50 euros, it is because you have done something for me that I value more than those 50 euros. You have solved a problem. You have given me joy. You have saved me time. Money is the physical proof that you have been useful to another human being. Therefore, making a lot of money means that you have served a lot of people. Jeff Bezos is rich because he has saved time and effort for millions of people. If you are broke, it is a signal. You are not serving enough people. Do not see it as a punishment. See it as data. If you want more money, serve more, help more people, solve more complex problems. Wealth is the inevitable byproduct of massive service. Wanting to be rich without serving is greed. Wanting to serve massively and accepting the resulting wealth is dharma. The aesthetics of abundance. Beauty is God. There is another reason to have money. Beauty. God is beauty. Nature is luxurious. Look at a sunset, a waste of colors. Look at a jungle, a waste of life. Grey and sad asceticism is not divine. It is human and depressing. Money allows you to surround yourself with beauty. It allows you to buy art, quality architecture, vibrant food and clothing that dignifies your body. Creating a beautiful environment raises your vibration and that of those around you. Entering a cathedral built with much money elevates the spirit. A Soviet concrete block built with scarcity depresses it. Matter matters. Matter is densified spirit. Treating matter with respect, quality, luxury, beauty, is a way of honoring the spirit. Do not feel guilty for wanting beautiful things. Your soul yearns for beauty because it remembers its celestial origin. Money is the brush to paint that beauty on earth. The impotent savior, a contradiction. Imagine a firefighter who arrives at a fire without a truck, without a hose and without water. Only with his good heart, he stands in front of the burning house and shouts, "Fire, stop! I have much love in my heart." The house burns down. People die. That firefighter is a fraud. You are that firefighter if you go through life wanting to save the world without seeking the resources to do so. If you are an activist, you need funds. If you are an artist, you need patrons. If you are a parent, you need capital for your children's education. Impotence is not a virtue, it is negligence. The humility that tells you that you do not need money is the whisper of the saboteur to disarm you. An unarmed warrior does not win battles. Money is ammunition. Money is armor. Money is speed. Arm yourself. Chapter 9, Magnificence as Service. Inspiration versus consolation. Welcome to the main stage. All your life they have told you, don't think you're better than anyone else, and they have told you, get your head out of the clouds. They have told you, be approachable, be normal, be one of the bunch. Society has an unhealthy obsession with relatability. We see politicians eating tacos to pretend they are the people. We see billionaires wearing torn t-shirts to seem accessible. It is a theater of mediocrity. Everyone pretends to be normal so that no one feels uncomfortable. But let me ask you a brutal question. When was the last time a normal person changed your life? When was the last time someone just as stuck as you saved you? Never. Normal people give you comfort. They say, I get it, life is hard, have a beer. They validate your victimhood. They make you feel accompanied in the pit, but they don't pull you out. To get out of the pit, you need someone who is outside of the pit. You need someone at the top, strong, radiant, and free. You need someone aspirational. Your false humility tells you to go down into the pit so as not to make those at the bottom feel bad. Your greatness tells you to climb the mountain and light a giant bonfire so those in the pit know where the exit is. Today, we talk about why your success is not an act of selfish vanity, but an act of radical humanitarian service. The physics of tuning forks, resonance. In physics, there is the law of resonance. If you have two tuning forks and strike one so it vibrates at a high note, and you bring it near the other that is still, the second will start to vibrate at the same note without you touching it. It is called entrainment. The strong frequency dominates the weak. You are a tuning fork. If you lower your vibration, making yourself small, complaining, or becoming poor, to connect with your negative environment, what happens? Now there are two tuning forks vibrating in shy to major. You have added noise to the chaos. You haven't helped anyone. You have only validated the low frequency. But if you maintain your high vibration and enter a depressed room, two things happen. 1. Some tuning forks, the envious crabs, will break or leave because they cannot stand the dissonance. 2. Other forks, those who are ready, will start vibrating with you. You will raise the energy of the room simply by being there, without saying a word, just by presence. Your state of being is your greatest contribution. If you are happy, radiant, and rich, you are a walking human antidepressant. If you are dimmed and humble, you are a useless placebo. Your moral duty is to vibrate so high that people heal just by sitting next to you. Consolation versus inspiration, the difference that kills. Consolation looks at the past and at pain. It says, poor thing, the world is so unfair, it's not your fault. Cry here on my shoulder. Consolation is necessary sometimes in acute grief, but if it becomes chronic, it becomes a drug. It creates an addiction to pity. Consolation validates the victim identity. You are right to be bad. Inspiration looks at the future and at potency. It says, get up. I know it hurts, but you are stronger than this. Look at me. I was there too, and I got out. If I could, you can. Let's go. Inspiration does not validate the victim. It challenges it. It may seem hard or arrogant at first because it denies you self-pity, but it is the only thing that generates change. Your false modesty is a form of mass consolation. By not shining, you tell the world, don't worry, I demand nothing of you. You can keep sleeping. Your magnificence is a form of mass inspiration. By shining, you say, wake up, there is more. Look at what is possible. Look. The Roger Bannister effect, breaking the belief barrier. For decades, doctors and scientists said it was physically impossible for a human to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. They said the heart would explode. It was an accepted truth, a biological limit. No one tried seriously because they knew it was impossible. Until in 1954, Roger Bannister did it. He ran the mile in 3 minutes, 59 seconds. He didn't die. His heart didn't explode. But the miraculous thing happened afterward. In the following 12 months, dozens of other runners broke the 4-minute barrier. Had humans evolved genetically in 1 year? No. What changed was the belief. Bannister destroyed the collective mental barrier. He gave them permission to believe. He showed them it was possible. His individual feat, which could be seen as selfish, became a service to all humanity. He raised the standard of the species. You are the Roger Bannister of your family or your industry. If you come from a poor family and get rich, you break the curse. You prove to your nephews that your last name is not condemned to poverty. If you heal from an incurable disease with your mind, you break the medical paradigm for everyone observing you. If you stay humble and don't break the record, you keep the mental prison intact for everyone. Your success is the key to others' cells. Giving permission, the Mandela speech. Marianne Williamson's quote is the central axis here. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Look at the word, permission. People are waiting for permission to be great. They are afraid. They think it's forbidden. They think God will be angry. When they see you free, happy, abundant, unapologetic, something clicks in their brain. Wait, can you do that? He hasn't been struck by lightning. He's still a good person and has a Ferrari. Your existence sets the captives free. When you are authentic, people relax. They take off their masks because you took off yours. When you ask for what you're worth, others learn to negotiate. When you set boundaries, others learn respect. Your arrogance, properly understood, is contagious. It is a vaccine against submission. But to give permission, first you have to give it to yourself. You have to be the first to leap into the void. God's aesthetics, why is beauty important? There is a spiritual current that says appearance doesn't matter, that the material is vanity. I say God is the greatest aesthete in the universe. Look at a peacock feather. Look at a galaxy. Look at the symmetry of a snowflake. Everything is exaggerated, unnecessary, exuberant beauty. God does not make functional and grey things. God makes works of art. When you neglect yourself under the excuse of humility, you are going against divine aesthetics. You are introducing ugliness into the world, and ugliness depresses. Ugliness lowers vibration. Your magnificence is also visual. Dress like a king or queen, not for vanity but for respect for the temple. Have your home like a palace. Create beauty around you. When someone sees you looking impeccable, their soul rejoices. Beauty is a promise of happiness. Being beautiful is an act of public service. You are beautifying the human landscape, the leader we want to follow. Ask yourself this: whom would you follow into battle? A general who doubts, who says, "I'm just one of the guys," who wears rags and is afraid to give orders. B, a general on horseback, with shining armor, who speaks with the certainty of steel and looks invincible. You follow B because B gives you security. His arrogance is certainty, calms you. It makes you feel there is a plan. The world is full of frightened people looking for a leader. If you play at false modesty, you abdicate your leadership. You leave people orphaned. We need you to put on the shining armor. We need you to look invincible. We need this not for your ego, but so we can believe in victory through you. Your strength is our refuge. Your wealth is our hope. Your joy is our map. Do not fail us by making yourself small. Envy as a traffic sign. We go back to the haters, but with a new lens. When someone envies you, they are actually saying, "Thank you for showing me what I have given up being." You are a living reminder of their aborted potential. That hurts, so they attack. But that pain is necessary. Pain is the first step of awakening. If no one reminded them of their potential, they would die asleep. You are the annoying alarm clock. Beep, 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 wake up. You could also be free. They slap the alarm clock, criticize you, but they are already awake. You have planted the seed of doubt in their mediocrity. That seed is there now. Maybe in 5 years that hater remembers your example and decides to change their life. Your magnificence acted as a delayed catalyst. You will never know how many people you have secretly inspired, even, and especially, those who criticize you publicly. Silent mentoring. You don't need to give TED Talks to be a mentor. Your children watch you, your neighbors watch you. You are mentoring the world 24/7 with your behavior. If they see you bowing your head to an abusive boss, you teach them submission. If they see you negotiating with firmness, you teach them dignity. If they see you enjoying your money without guilt, you teach them abundance. You are a walking billboard for a philosophy of life. What are you advertising? Are you advertising life is hard and you have to suffer? Or are you advertising life is a wonderful adventure? Be responsible for your advertisement. The generosity of winning. In sports, when a team wins the World Cup, the whole country goes out into the street. People hug. The economy goes up. Why? They didn't play. They didn't win the cup. But victory is holographic. When one wins big, everyone feels they win a little. Victory generates a collective euphoria. When you win, get the contract, overcome the disease, write the book, you are injecting victory energy into the collective network. Your true friends rejoice. You give them a morale boost. Losing, conversely, drains energy. When you fail, your friends have to console you. They spend energy, they worry. Winning is generous. Losing, by not trying or playing small, is costly for the tribe. Win for them if you cannot win for yourself. Give them the joy of celebrating a victory, even if it is vicarious. The selfishness of shyness. Shyness is not humility. Shyness is extreme selfishness. When you are shy, what are you thinking? What will they think of me? Will they judge me? Me, me, me. If you were thinking about others, you wouldn't be shy. You would think, I have a message that can help them. I have a product they need. When you focus on service, shyness disappears, because you no longer matter. The delivery matters. The mailman isn't shy delivering a letter. He doesn't think, will she like my uniform? He just thinks, I have to deliver this message. You are the mailman of your gifts. Deliver them. Your shyness is depriving the recipient of their letter. That is a theft. Overcome your self-obsession and deliver the damn package. Chapter 10, Unapologetic. The Final Decree. This entire journey had a single purpose, to reach this precise moment. The moment when you realize that you have spent your whole life apologizing for being who you are. Sorry for bothering you. Sorry for asking for so much. Sorry for being successful. Sorry for being intense. Sorry for taking up space. That constant sorry is a hole in your soul through which your power escapes. Every time you apologize for your greatness, you are committing an act of treason against yourself. You are saying, the world is right to demand smallness from me, and I was wrong to try to be great. Today it ends. Today we enter the zero apology zone. This does not mean being rude. It means being a fact of nature. A hurricane does not apologize for destroying a poorly built house. A lion does not apologize for eating a gazelle. The sun does not apologize for causing a burn to one who did not protect themselves. They simply are. And you, from this day forward, simply are. The pathology of the automatic apology. Observe yourself for 24 hours. How many times do you say, I'm sorry or pardon me when it is not necessary? Someone bumps into you on the street, and you apologize. You ask for the bill in a restaurant, and you say, sorry, can I pay? You express your opinion in a meeting, and you start with, well, in my humble opinion. It is a nervous tick of submission. It is a signal you send to your reptilian brain. I am inferior, I am a nuisance, please do not attack me. Eliminate the word sorry from your operative vocabulary, except when you have truly harmed someone through error or malice. If they bump into you, say nothing or say watch out. If you want the bill, say the bill please. The waiter is there to charge you, you are not bothering him, you are giving him work. If you give an opinion, say, I think this. Substitute I'm sorry with thank you. Instead of saying, sorry I'm late, say, thank you for waiting for me. You change the vibration from guilt, low, to gratitude, high. You stop putting yourself in debt and start valuing the other person's time without devaluing yourself. The unapologetic state. In English, there is a wonderful word, unapologetic. It does not have an exact translation in Spanish that captures all its force. It means one who does not apologize, who does not regret, who does not defend their nature. It is the attitude of a rock star on stage. It is the attitude of a cat walking into a room. It is the attitude of God creating the universe. To be unapologetic is to live in total alignment. When what you think, What you say and what you do are aligned with your spirit. There is nothing to apologize for. Even if you make a mistake, being true to yourself, it is an honest error. It is learning. It does not require guilt, it requires correction. Unapologetic people are magnetic. They attract us because they show us a freedom that we desire. Marilyn Monroe, Muhammad Ali, Steve Jobs, Madonna. They had giant flaws, they made public mistakes, but they never apologized for being too much. They never made themselves small to fit in. And that is why the world adapted to them instead of them adapting to the world. The integration of too much. Surely you have been told some of these phrases. You are too sensitive. You are too ambitious. You are too loud. You are too direct. That too much is your superpower. Your sensitivity is your intuition. Your ambition is your engine. Your noise is your voice. Your frankness is your truth. Society asks you to trim those excesses to be normal. The lie of humility tells you that those excesses are flaws. I tell you, turn up the volume. If you are too much for them, it is because they are too little for you. Do not trim your sharp edges. Those edges are what allow you to cut through reality and open new paths. If you try to be a round piece to fit into a square hole, you will lose your shape and your function. Stay square. Stay sharp. And look for, or create, a square hole where you fit perfectly. The vow of silence, the death of justification. The most common act of submission is justification, explaining why you do what you do. I bought this car because it was on sale, and I need it for... I charge this because the market is like this, and my costs are... I'm not going to your party because I have a headache. White lie. Enough. You do not owe anyone an explanation about how you live your life. The king does not justify his decrees to the peasants. The sovereign acts. If you want the car, buy it, period. Because I want to. It is the only reason necessary. If you charge X, period. It is my price. If you don't want to go to the party, say I am not going, period. When you justify yourself, you are handing your power to the other. You are giving them authority to judge whether your reason is valid or not. Oh well, if it was on sale, then I give you permission to have the car. To hell with their permission. You give yourself permission. Practice the art of the declarative sentence. Subject plus verb plus predicate. Without becauses. I am going home. I am not interested. I want that. You will see how people, paradoxically, respect you more. Certainty does not need argumentative crutches. Occupying space, the final posture. Your body has been the prison of your humility. Slumped shoulders, low voice, evasive gaze. It is time to break the physical cage. Adopt the posture of the owner. When you enter a place, act as if you were the owner of the building. Not with arrogance of, I'm going to kick you all out, but with the tranquility. The tranquility of all of this is under my care and responsibility. Sit down taking up the entire chair. Put your things on the table. Speak with pauses. Fear speaks fast. Power speaks slow. Look people in the eye until the other person looks away or smiles. You are reclaiming your energetic territory. At first your body will resist. You will feel that it is dangerous to be so visible. Your nervous system will expect an attack. When you see that the attack does not come, on the contrary, respect arrives, your body will relax into its new expansion. You have reprogrammed your biology for greatness. The legacy of audacity. Think of your ancestors. Think of all the men and women in your lineage who lived in fear, who bowed their heads before the feudal lord, before the boss, before the priest, before the abusive husband. You carry their fear in your DNA, but you also carry their repressed desire for freedom. You are the chosen one to break the chain. You are the one who is going to say the fear ends here, not on my watch. By living without apologies, you are healing your family tree backward and forward. You are honoring your grandparents by doing what they could not do. And you are freeing your children, or future disciples, from having to fight the same battle. You are handing them a legacy of audacity. You are teaching them that it is safe to be powerful. Your lack of humility is the greatest gift you can give to your lineage. You are the white wolf who returned to free the pack. The mirror exercise, the coronation. We are going to do one last ritual. You need a mirror and solitude. Look at yourself. Do not look at your wrinkles or your pimples. Look at the being that lives behind the eyes. Put your hand on your heart. Feel the beat. That beat is the universe saying yes to your existence. Say out loud, I, your name, renounce shame. I renounce guilt. I renounce the need to please. I accept my power. I accept my light. I accept my shadow. From today, I do not ask permission to shine. I am that I am, and that is enough. And that is a lot. Feel how the words settle into your cells. It is not just a mental exercise. It is a biological contract. You have been crowned by your own hand. No one can take away a crown that you yourself have put on with the authority of the truth. The decree, your new constitution. To close this book, and to close your old life, here is the decree of independence. You can copy it, write it on your wall, or tattoo it on your soul. It is the declaration of war against mediocrity and the declaration of peace with yourself. The decree of greatness. I will not ask for forgiveness for my talents, my success, or my ambition. They are gifts from God, and honoring them is my devotion. I will not make myself small to comfort the insecure. My smallness does not serve the world. My greatness does. I will not accept poverty as a virtue. Abundance is my right and my tool of service. I will not seek the approval of those who do not dare to live their own lives. Their opinion is irrelevant. I will not hide my light. I will be a visible lighthouse, even if my brilliance bothers those who prefer the darkness. I will not justify my desires. Because I want to is law enough for my sovereign soul. I will not be humble before men, only before the truth. I will recognize my mistakes to correct them, not to punish myself. I am a masterpiece in progress. To deny it is blasphemy. To celebrate it is worship. I am power. I am love. I am victory. So be it. It is done. Conclusion. The world awaits its king-queen. You have reached the end. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe. Do you feel that? It is the absence of weight. That layer of lead called false humility, which you have carried on your shoulders for decades, has fallen to the ground. You no longer have to apologize for existing. You no longer have to shrink to fit into the shoebox of other people's expectations. You feel light. You feel dizzy. It is the vertigo of height. It is the pure oxygen of freedom. Out there, on the other side of your door, there is a hungry world. People are tired. They are fed up with plastic leaders who pretend to be perfect. They are fed up with gurus who pretend to be modest while accumulating power in the shadows. They are fed up with mediocrity disguised as virtue. They are desperately looking for someone real. They are looking for someone who has the courage to be magnificent and terrible, generous and selfish, spiritual and rich, all at once. Someone complete. Someone who does not hide their shadow, but uses it to give contrast to their light. Someone like you. Your throne has been empty for too long, and an empty throne is an invitation to chaos. When the king or queen does not take their place, the jesters and tyrants take command. Your life has been governed by fear because you abdicated, but the exile is over. Do not make them wait any longer. The world needs your voice, not your silence. The world needs your wealth circulating, not your stagnant poverty. The world needs your radical art, not your safe copy. Go out there, occupy your space, make noise, make money shamelessly, love with fury, create empires. Stand for the love of God and do not apologize. Do not apologize for your brilliance. Do not apologize for your strength. Do not apologize for being the masterpiece that the Creator designed. If your light bothers them, let them wear sunglasses. If your speed scares them, let them get out of the way. You have not come to fit in. You have come to reign. The world does not need your humility. The world needs your glory. Go and shine.